Welcome to Facts and Facts. In the early winter of 1994, a 15-year-old me sat in a dollar movie theater in Provo, Utah. I was with a group of my friends, and I'm feeling pretty good because of the bowl me and my buddies had smoked before going into the movie theater. I don't remember why we chose this particular movie. We had heard it was good. We had heard about some realistic, groundbreaking special effects. But I really think it was just an excuse to go out on a Friday night and find girls. This movie was attracting a lot, and I mean a lot of girls. Going to see it was probably a no-brainer in our minds. The rest of the night is pretty fuzzy. See the bowl we had smoked. What I do remember was the way this movie made me feel. I related to the main character in a lot of ways. He had issues with his legs. I had issues with my legs. He was bullied as a child. I was bullied as a child. He loved his childhood crush, and I had so many childhood crushes. He heard and saw things he should not have. I heard and saw a lot of things I should not have. He perceived life in a simple, uncomplicated way, and I saw life from a naive child's point of view. Life happened around him, and all he could do was roll with the punches and go with the flow. The story of my life up to that point. He sought for and held on to the loves that mattered most to him. I was searching for the type of love I wished I were getting at home. By the end of this epic movie, I was crying. Yeah, even in front of my friends. They didn't laugh because a part of each of them had been affected by the movie too. I did not realize it, but right then and there, Forrest Gump became my favorite movie of all time. It helped that Tom Hanks was my favorite actor and had starred in Sleepless in Seattle the year before. Sleepless in Seattle being the movie where I had secretly arranged with her friend, Mimi, to meet at the same dollar theater my forbidden middle school girlfriend. Forbidden because we were both Mormon, and Mormon children were not allowed to date before they turned 16 years old. Very taboo. I digress though. Little did I know how big of a role Forrest Gump would play in my life. Over the next several years, I must have watched it 100 times at least. Well, not exactly watched it every time. Back then, and maybe even today, they claimed marijuana was a gateway drug. For my friends and I, that was the fucking truth. We ran right through that gate, and we headed towards acid. But before we could dive into and get our hands on any real psychedelics, we had heard about the poor man's trip, the dangerous but acid-like high of taking 20 to 30 Dramamine pills. Packs of pills we would steal from local grocery stores. Most of our nights tripping off Dramamine ended at Josh's tiny house, laying on his living room couches, his parents just 30 feet down the hall, and Forrest Gump playing silently on his TV. It was always Forrest Gump. While on an earlier Dramamine trip, we had discovered that if you made it to the middle of the movie, right at the beginning of the Vietnam scenes, you could see the green screen outlines around the helicopters. Being able to stay awake up to that point in the movie while hearing non-existent whispers, seeing the phantom birds fly by, and battling the onslaught of sleep became a badge of honor we could boast about the next morning. Stupid teenagers. During those mind-numbing, drug-addled nights, or maybe it was just the drugs, those deep premises of the movie that I had connected with before became engraved in my psyche. So did the catchphrases. Run, Forrest, run! Stupid is as stupid does. Jenny! Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Each one took on meanings focal to my late teenage years. I epitomized Run, Forrest, Run by doing my best to dodge the law, or escape from a foster home, or outwit the school tracker Coach Kelly when I sloughed school. Stupid is as stupid does became the de facto go-to line I'd say to myself whenever I got caught doing anything stupid or illegal. When I was 18, I married a girl named Jennifer. She liked to be called Jen, but to me, she became my very own Jenny. You can imagine her annoyance as I belted out, Jenny! In the car, or aloud in front of our friends. Of course, I connected my real life with Forrest. In my mind, I had fulfilled a subconscious fantasy of marrying a girl with the same name as Forrest's girl. I believe my relationship with Jen was a destined, important plot point in the story of my life. We were meant to be like Forrest and Jenny were. Stupid is as stupid thinks. Am I right? Like my marriage to Jen, the meanings and many of the associated behaviors behind those catchphrases faded to black and ended. I stopped running. Well, at least from the law and Coach Kelly. I'm still stupid at times, but I've become wiser as I've grown older. So my stupidity no longer defines or dictates what or do. But life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get, right? That one line from Forrest Gump has withstood the tests and trials, the heartbreaks and heartaches, the loves and laughs, the twists and turns, and all the good and bad of my life. In the movie, life is like a box of chocolates isn't really what Mama says to Forrest. The actual line is, my mama always said life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. I credit the writers of Forrest Gump for giving him the grammatical intelligence to use the past tense as he recounts in the opening bench scene how his mama summed up living life. But we all say it the way I do. Life is. Because life is happening to us at this very moment. Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. In all its beautiful simplicity, those words capture how unpredictable life is, how it is full of surprises, how you cannot always know what the future holds or what experiences you will encounter along the way. Those 7 words have carried me through more ups and downs than I could ever recall. To this day, those words are the first words that come to me, both when the stupidest shit happens to me or when the most amazing shit happens to me. For much of the past 31 years since first seeing Forrest Gump, despite knowing it was my favorite movie, despite how much I related to it, despite how profound the story was to me or how deeply it affected me, I navigated through my life as if it had not meant much to me. I made so many stupid choices. I hurt people that I loved. At different points, my decisions negatively and drastically affected the direction of my life. I sailed through life thinking I knew what I was doing, when I was actually sailing through a fog, barely knowing there was a nose on the front of my face. I didn't come to that realization until I was a 40-year-old man. I was sitting on a therapist's couch, going through a second divorce, working through the tangled mess of line that had been haphazardly strewn on the deck of my boat while I had been drifting through the sea of life up to that point. Pre-therapist couch, I would characterize myself as post-Vietnam War Lieutenant Dan. You know, before he became the first mate on Jenny 1. I was angry, disheveled, disconnected, often high as a kite. Meant for great things, but amounting to nothing. I was just lost. Like Lieutenant Dan, something clicked inside of me as I faced the storm head on. For much of the past 6 years, yeah, do the math, I'm 46 at the time of this recording. For the past 6 years, I've lived life knowing it was like a box of chocolates. When I was a kid, I rolled with the punches because I had no other recourse. Today, I roll with the punches knowing I have options and others on which I can rely. When I was a teenager, I was searching for the type of love I was not getting at home, specifically from my mother. Today, I'm searching for and, bit by bit, finding the love I was missing. A deep, unwavering, unrelenting, true love of myself. For as long as I can remember, I was scared of and avoided facing the unknown. To cover up my fear, I operated with a veneer of fragile self-confidence. A self-confidence easily shattered whenever life took one of its natural turns for the worst. Or a self-confidence that was falsely bolstered whenever life happened to swing my way. Today, I embrace the unknown with a secure knowledge and faith that everything, eventually, will become familiar, however different from before. I feel confident I can handle the pendulum of life as it swings to and fro. I no longer recoil from the unknown. I embrace it. When I'm asked, what is your favorite movie of all time? Without hesitation, my answer is Forrest Gump. Just like Star Trek, it has had a profound influence on my life. There are many of us out in the world who have had difficult childhoods and learned from terrible, sometimes horrific examples at home. Many of us learned a lot about life, how to live it, treat people, overcome it, from outside the walls of those homes, or from within by escaping through books, music, TV shows, or video games. There are some out there who have the opinion that TV, movies, and video games are bad influences on children and society as a whole. But I disagree. Art, whether in the form of a painting, a book, a poem, or music, has influenced and driven society. Art has expanded to include TV, movies, and video games, and it is obvious to me they have done the same influencing and driving of society as classical forms of art have. All those art forms, in one way or another, good or bad, have influenced me. In Forrest Gump, my favorite movie of all time, by the way, I learned that there is a beauty in unpredictability, that growth comes from the unexpected, and that there is a sweetness in life I would have never known about or experienced until I opened the box and tasted every piece of it. My mama didn't teach me those things. A movie playing in 1994 at Movies 8 in Provo, Utah did. Turns out I had a mama who did teach me something. Stay engaged. If you like my content, please like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Anything will help. I'm trying to build this channel and I just need everyone's help. So if you like what I'm putting out, do me those favors. Stay engaged.